I love music and I love white boys and I love R&B. And so this episode is about those three combined. Hello and welcome back to another installment of Vinny Views. I am Vinny and today we are going to be taking an interesting view. It's such a weird formula, I know. You think about in the past few years, even the past 10 years really, you think of, these, white boys who are growing into themselves, who are maturing from their teeny bopper days, who cross over into this R&B, hip hop, sexy, grown ass man career, this point in their career, and now we're going to take a look at four of some highlights over the past 10 years. Starting with the most recent entry, which is Mr. ZAYN, his album Mind of Mine, which came out this year. ZAYN was a member of One Direction. Everyone went crazy when he went off on his own and thinking that he couldn't have any success without his bandmates, and lo and behold, he has done it. Mind of Mine is such a well-crafted album, very thought out, very vibey. It's got this really cool vibe to it from beginning to end. My favorite single off of this album is the song called Pillow Talk. He cusses a little bit, he gets a little sexy, a little down and dirty, and it's just really good.
It's a paradise, and it's a war zone.
My favorite song off of this album called Fool for You. It's very much inspired by this kind of 70s R&B, kind of doo-wop, little Smokey Robinson, little Isley Brothers. It just has that kind of vocal quality to it.
'Cause I'm a fool for you.
Keep doing your thing, keep being sexy as hell, keep being mysterious, and keep making great work like this. We're gonna go back in time now to a couple years ago with Mr. Nick Jonas with his album Nick Jonas. He left his brothers behind. This time around, he came back hotter, sexier, shaved off his head. He's playing all these gay characters. He is a grown-ass man now, and he came out with this amazing, well put together album called Nick Jonas. Definitely goes into more of a futuristic R&B side, a little funk, still some great pop influences in there. My favorite single off of this album is called Chains. It's the first single, it's the first song on the album. It kind of just sets the pace for what the rest of the album's gonna be. It's a very kind of eerie song, and you know me and those eerie, creepy songs, I just love them.
Tryna break the chains, but the chains only bring me.
My favorite song on the album is a song called Teacher. It's very much this funky little, it's like this 80s Earth, Wind and Fire Prince funk, and I love it.
So let me teach you.
Keep this train rolling because I will be right there along with you for the ride. Now we're taking it back even further. We're going back to 2008, y'all. We are going back to Mr. Jesse McCartney. Now, Jesse McCartney had two albums that he had released way back in the day, which was just the epitome of mid-2000s pop music, and Departure is what it is. Departure was a departure from his image. He was growing into his own. He was becoming a man like all the other guys that I'm talking about are. And this was kind of a way to go into less pop and more R&B, kind of a little fusion of the two. My favorite single off of this album is a song called Leavin. He's talking about, making a girl leave her man because he can do it better, and it's just a cute little tune.
Why don't you tell me I'm leaving, never come back again?
My favorite song off of this album is a more upbeat song called My Baby. Very dancey, it's very fun, it's a fun little groovy tune. Haven't heard a lot from Jesse McCartney these days. I'm still holding out for more in this direction of him just doing his thing, because he's a cutie patootie for sure. And now we go back to the daddy of this whole movement. And I'm sure that there's other guys before him that have done this, but I feel like this man, this person, kind of helped jumpstart this fad into you want to show a more mature side, go ahead and dig deep, do something a little bit more out there. I have him in my collection, actually, Mr. Justin Timberlake. I listen to this album constantly, actually. I own it on vinyl because I love it from beginning to end. Now, for those who remember, Justin Timberlake was part of NSYNC. He went from this teeny bopper side, went into a little bit more of a like young adult side with Justified, his first solo album. But it was FuturesexLovesounds, his second album, that really just skyrocketed him into this sexy ass man. It obviously helped that his first single was called Sexy Back. He worked with producer Timberlake, who produced pretty much the majority of this album, and gave him this distinct sound that was very much influenced by funk, by hip hop, R&B, by Prince. I mean, you can hear a lot of Prince influences in this work, and he kind of paved the way for, you know, my favorite album by Jesse McCartney, Departure, paved the way for someone like Nick Jonas, and paved the way for someone like ZAYN, who came into their own with their more mature sounding albums, into these grown men. And that's just my opinion. My favorite single off of this album is the song called My Love that he does with T.I. It's just bounce, and then stop, and then bounce, and then stop. And it's just a really, really sweet song when you read the lyrics and know what he's talking about.
See, all I want you to do is be my love.
My favorite song off of this album is a song called Damn Girl that was produced by will.i.am. It's just very infectious, it's very catchy, and it's very memorable. It's obviously my favorite song for a reason.
That's got me saying, damn girl.
Thank you to all the future teeny bopper boys out there who will grow into fine young gentlemen and will find some way to grow up and use albums and use music to do that maturing. Thank you. That is all for this installment of Vinny Views. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, share with all of your friends who love Jesse McCartney, who love ZAYN, who love Nick Jonas, who love Justin Timberlake. Who doesn't love Justin Timberlake? I will see you on my next installment of Vinny Views. Bye! We will see you. I will see you next time on I will see you on our next installment of Vinny Views. I will see you on my next installment of Vinny Views.